There's basically three things that I would like you to take away from the study. The first one is that our calculations indicate that the chemical industry abates about 2 to 2.5 times more greenhouse gases than it creates, basically in the extraction of its feedstock, the production of its products, and the disposal of those products. So that's point number one. Point number two is that there's potential to increase that ratio from 2.5, as I said before, to over 4 in an aggressive abatement scenario by 2004, in which the industry would work on its own emissions, but regulators would also stimulate increased demand for the industry's products. And so after all these calculations, the results are pretty encouraging. So as I said, a factor of 2 to 2.5 more abatement than own emissions, and the net savings are in the order of 3.6 to 5.2 gigatons, i.e. a world without chemicals would basically emit 8 to 11% more CO2 equivalent gases than today's world.
As you've heard, the McKinsey report found that most significant emissions savings by volume are enabled by chemistry came from, building insulation, lighting, plastic packaging, and I'm particularly intrigued by the anti-fouling agents. I mean, the notion that you reduce drag on a ship sailing through the water. You don't think of those sorts of things, but chemistry is involved in all of these things. The ratio of emission savings to emissions used to make the insulation is pretty stunning. 233 to 1. That's for every ton of greenhouse gas emissions used in the manufacture of building insulation material. Somewhere out there, the world saves 233 tons. That's pretty impressive. And for example, that's 123 to 1 for the carbon fiber used for wind turbine blades. Compact fluorescent lightings, 20 to 1. Polymers for automotive weight reduction, 3 to 1. And as you can tell, there are examples like these all across the room.
Both Philip and Dow talked about the ability of the chemistry industry to really be at the forefront of innovations, and which are becoming increasingly important to consumers as well as policymakers as we really try to determine how can we reduce our greenhouse gases at the same time that we're going to ensure that the U.S. Industry and manufacturing sector is at the forefront in creating jobs and creating the innovations. When we look at these products today, they oftentimes give you a glimpse in terms of some of the innovations and technologies that we see incorporating into products for the future. But I also want us to also reflect on the fact that since 1990, this industry, the chemistry industry, has in their own operations been committed to increasing their efficiency, their productivity, that's allowed us to reduce our greenhouse gases since 1990 by 16%. Many of you had watched with great interest the consideration of the Waxman-Markey bill that passed by a narrow margin. The way that we have positioned the American Chemistry Council and the industry by and large is that we are totally and absolutely committed to a policy that will address climate change, that will result in the reduction of greenhouse gases while protecting the competitiveness of U.S. chemical manufacturers. The legislation that passed the House moved in a positive direction in order to try to accommodate some of those objectives. However, we believe that there's still more work that needs to be done. And the work that needs to be done is, again, ensuring that we will allow the U.S. chemistry industry to continue to be competitive. ACC has consistently supported the increase of building codes that would lead to greater energy efficiency. So we think that is something that is appropriate, that's included in the federal legislation that we also see enacted at the state level that will contribute to greater energy efficiency, and also from our industry perspective has also the benefit of increasing demand for many of our products that you see here. With that, we'll bring the conference to a close. We appreciate all your participation, and we encourage all of you to come up and take a look at some of these just terrific products that are manufactured by the member companies of the American Chemistry Council. Thank you.